Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is To Empowering You. This is your host, Cynthia Fontaine, psychic medium healer. I do a whole bunch of things. Back, and if you'll notice, I'm in the same clothes as the last show, and I have the same special guest, Jeanne Bundy, who's also in the same clothes because we decided we were having so much fun that we wanted to continue part 2 with you, so we didn't leave you hanging with the cord cutting and the energy work and so forth. So, so happy to have you back, Jeanne.
Thank you, Cynthia.
For those who, if you missed the first show, go back and watch it.
Yeah.
But Jeanne's an #1 international best-selling author. She's an energy healer. She is a oracle expert and spirit guide and angel expert. And so, welcome, Jeanne. And an artist.
Thank you. And I am a student still of Cynthia's.
I'm
very proud of that. I think you always should continue learning.
I agree.
No matter what.
Yeah, I agree.
No matter what. Whatever age you are, whatever. I used to be in my old life. I was a hairdresser for over 45 years.
Yeah.
And I actually taught hairdressing as well as at a school.
Yeah.
And I used to tell my students, the day you tell me you know everything, take your scissors and go hang them on the wall because you're no good to me anymore.
Absolutely.
You should constantly be learning.
Yeah.
There's always something new to learn, and there's always something new to undo or to learn not to do.
Right.
You know?
We'll talk about undoing in a minute.
Yeah.
And I actually learned that many years ago from my daughter's horse trainer. That was her one thing that she always said, always study with somebody who's always learning.
Yeah.
And I'm always taking classes, and not just in the metaphysical and the woo-woo, but I take other things too. Like I did a 1.5 years of AI training classes.
And you did my book.
Yes. I illustrated.
All my characters. Yes.
Yes, I created the characters by hand, and then illustrated the book using AI.
Yeah.
And you can. Anyway,
it's all good.
The book is. The Magical
book.
Garden. Oh, I forget the name of it.
Me too. The Starry Garden.
Starry Garden's Magical Surprise. That's it.
It's a children's book.
Yes. It's a children's book about grief.
Yes.
And understanding that. So. So that was a fun thing that I did.
Yes.
That was sort of out of the blue. And one thing when people want to learn how to tune into spirit, I actually suggest that they go and learn something else at the same time, something new that they haven't done before, whether it's arts and learning how to make art, some kind of arts and crafts, or studying AI or whatever it is. But learn something that you haven't, that is new, brand new, while you are expanding your intuition, your understanding, your spiritual connection, because it helps. Because if you are just focusing on the spiritual part, and I want to open my crown chakra, and I want to hear my spirit guides and things like that, that's pressure.
Yeah,
right? We talked about pressure in the last show. And so take the pressure off, learn something else, and allow the things to come to you.
Absolutely.
And I want to talk about chords first, because we can go off on a tangent.
Yes, we can.
And
we left off on the other one. We left off cutting cords.
Yes, cutting energetic cords.
We decided stay in our same clothes and
continue recording.
And continues, because we can't leave you hanging with the cords.
No. It's too important. It's
Absolutely.
Too important.
So yes.
Just a really sort of like quick synopsis or recap, right?
Yes.
Everything is energy. There's energy all around us. Our spiritual self, or our energetic self, naturally puts an energy field out around us all the time. Every single person that you meet, every animal, every living thing, they all have their own energy field. And when we interact with other energy fields, we can absorb that energy. We can, and when you're in relationships with people, the deeper the relationship, the more energy connection between you. And that creates cords. So these energetic cords.
Right.
And they can actually connect anywhere in your body to you. And that depends on the relationship, actually, and what karma you might have with a person. Now, If it's somebody that you meet in the supermarket, no big deal.
Right.
Right.
They're going to snap off later on.
Exactly. That's a small
Yeah.
cord. You don't typically have to worry about it.
Right.
But the more deep the relationship, then the bigger issue the cords are.
Absolutely.
And it's not. People sometimes freak out. If you say, oh, we're going to cut the cords or remove the cords. Well, I don't want that relationship to end. And so people get a little scared about that sometimes. And it's not that the relationship will end, but it gives the opportunity for the relationship to get better.
Because spirit will never cut a positive energy from you.
Right.
It's going to just take away the negative parts.
Right.
And you have to trust that.
Right.
That's what it's all about. You have to trust that spirit knows you asked for it to be all the negative cords or attachments or whatever, and that is what will be cut. Spirit's never going to cut your kid out. Or your husband or your boyfriend or your partner. No.
Right.
But that will make the negative aspects of those lessen.
Right.
Yeah.
And
they're not bad people. I mean, people think, "Oh my God, they courted to me. They're sending me bad juju."
Right.
No, that's not always the case.
Right.
I mean, there are cases. We all know that. That's a whole nother class you can do with Althea.
Another.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. But people normally aren't going to say, "Well, boom, Cynthia Fontaine, I'm going to stick my cord with you." No, it just happens energetically.
Right, naturally.
Yes. There's nothing you can do about it. We're energy beings, and energy beings, we're attached to each other, right? We're all one. So I'm going to just talk to you for a little bit or whatever, and our energy is going to interconnect, right?
Right.
And then at some point, if it's it's just going to go away. Those energy cords are going to go away. But if it's some kind of negative thing, if I say, "Oh, that's Cynthia, man, what a pain in the ass she is." All right, so that's a negative cord that I just attached to you, without even realizing it.
Right.
Not meaning it, but it is.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you don't want those sitting in your auric field because then sometimes you have trouble sleeping.
Right.
Your mind won't shut off.
Right.
You're constantly in the monkey mind. Right? So, yes.
Yeah, and, if you're, so imagine if you were bound by a rope, right? Imagine that's what happens if you have so many cords attached to you.
Yeah.
It's like you become bound, your energy becomes bound, and it can actually create illness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you work with your energy healer or if you stylist, my gosh, when I was taking lessons with Cynthia and I was still working, my goodness, it was like constantly clearing my energy, cutting cords, because every time I touched a customer, guess what? I'm in your head. I'm touching you, right? And I'm absorbing and I'm bringing in all that energy of yours into mine. Right? So it was a constant cutting cords, clearing the energy. And the people didn't do anything wrong. That's just how it works.
Right, absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so whether you're, a stylist or a massage therapist or you do Reiki, anytime that you're putting hands on people, then you're really absorbing their energy. And that's where it especially becomes important to clear your energy field.
Absolutely.
Now, for relationships that are, if you're panicked about, oh my God, I don't want to cut that cord with my kid or my spouse or my lover or whatever, my mother, my father, even if it's a difficult relationship, one thing that you can do is you can actually close your eyes and you can visualize what the cord looks like between the two of you. And then you can imagine a violet light or a violet flame. It can be a crystalline light, or you can imagine a flame. And imagine it flowing through the cord between the two of you, from you to them, and clear the cord. And that energy can actually help to shift the relationship, especially if it's a difficult one, rather than cutting the cord.
Absolutely, yes. At the end of the day, if I've been out and about, if I'm home by myself and I'm doing crafts or I'm working or whatever, I don't normally, I'll do a quick clearing or whatever before I go to bed. But if I go out of my house and I'm in the supermarket and I'm talking to people, I'm doing this, I come home and then I cut the cords.
Right.
And then I feel better.
Yes.
I don't feel, because people come in and they don't mean anything, but maybe they just had a hectic day.
Right.
And their energy is now in your energy, and you don't know why. I was feeling good one minute ago, now all of a sudden I don't.
Right.
Well, guess what? figure it out.
Right.
Find out.
Right, and you can ask, is
Yeah.
this my energy or is this someone else's?
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
So, and for me, that's where I use my inner truth meter, which I think I talked about on show 1. So you want to go back and watch that if you haven't watched it. If not, I have a podcast where I talk about that, so you can look that up online also. And so your inner truth meter, that's when you understand what's a yes, what's a truth, and what's a no for you. Right. And I'm not going to explain it now because I've already done that in another show, so go check out the other show.
For me, when I feel like, I just feel like clammy or clingy.
Yeah.
I just feel like,
Yeah.
like you got a film or something on you,
Or I get really cranky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And if I don't I have a lot of arthritis delivering mail for 26 years outside, and I walked on cement all day.
Yes.
And so if there's not a storm coming, if I'm not, having a high level of pain in my body because of all the arthritis and injuries and so forth, then I ask, okay, am I hungry? Am I tired?
Am I
if those are, if those are all no, then maybe I need to clear my energy field. Right?
And I think that leads us to the point where our bodies will tell us.
Yes, we have to listen to them.
You have to listen to them.
Yes.
That's your number one truth meter.
Yes.
Just listen to your body. Your body's going to tell you.
Yes.
If all of a sudden you come in and you're like exhausted and you can't get up and you're like, then there's something wrong.
Right.
You need to be cleared.
Right.
It's that simple.
Right.
And other things.
There could be other things as well. So you sort of eliminate.
You have to sort through them. Yes.
But I think that most people are probably unaware of that, and and of course you want to look at obvious things, just like, for example, when I was doing a lot of paranormal stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Where I would go with these. Where I actually trained 2 ghost hunting teams to do ghost tours at Fort Adams in Newport, Rhode Island, to raise money for the fort.
Right.
And so you have to ask and understand: is this my energy? Is this someone else's? But also, so when you're doing ghost hunting, you have to eliminate the obvious, right, or the explainable,
right,
until you get to the point where, okay, we can't explain that, and then oh, that might be something.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
But your everyday clearing, you can,
Yeah, it's just like you shower.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good idea to.
And that's another way to do it as well.
Yes.
Salt, the salt bath, the salt showers. I'm a shower person, so I buy the salt.
Yes.
And I rub my skin with the salt and all that. And and as I'm doing it, it's with the intention that I am washing away anything that is like on me or any kind of energy that I don't want on my body, and it's flushing, going down into the sewer system or whatever. So you want to do it that way, or you can take a nice salt bath. I'm not a bath person because I have bad knees and it's too hard for me to get out of the tub.
Yeah.
But
But that's great.
But you have to figure it out for yourself. But just everyday cleansing type thing, like you take a shower, just add the salt to it. What's the big deal?
Right. And the intention.
Absolutely.
You can cut cords. You can use a bell.
Yeah.
Or a sound bowl.
Yep.
You can use a clearing spray.
Yes.
You can use candles or incense that are formulated for clearing. Yep. There's a whole number of ways that you can clear your energy field.
Yeah. And don't forget your house as well.
Yes, absolutely.
There's always, if you feel like you've got some boogies, then guess what? Your house does too. And so you can use, the clearing candles. You can do all kinds of methods in which to clear your house as well.
Right.
So,
and we've all had those. Oh, yeah. We've all had those visitors.
Yes, we have that. Yes.
Who, when they leave, you go, oh,
yeah.
Thank God, that's over.
That's done.
But they leave the energy, the residual, in the home.
I mean, it's not, they don't mean to do it deliberately. That's just their energy.
Yes.
And there's sometimes you can feel it. Because your house, you can feel it in your house, and you're like, all right, how do I get rid of this? Open the doors is one way, with the intention that you're blowing it out. If that doesn't work, do the candles, the clearing candles. People like to do Palo Santo
or sage,
or just something to kind of break up that energy. Shift it a while.
Yeah, shift the energy. My grandmother, who was my first teacher, she always said, always go out the same door you came in. So when you go to the supermarket or you go to TJ Maxx or
Right,
wherever,
right,
you
right.
go to the mall, you always come back out the same day that the same way that you come in. And I thought, well, that's kind of odd. Why?
Yeah.
And so finally I asked her one day, I'm like, well, Gran, why do you do that? Why is that important? She said, because we leave our energy behind us. And so you want to collect your energy back
how
to you,
funny.
bring it back to you as you leave wherever you've
Right.
been.
That makes sense, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, like little Liam, like a little Liam.
Yeah, right. And you can even have the intention when you're going
Right.
out the door.
Yeah.
Okay, bring my energy back to
so
me.
I don't leave any residue. Yeah.
Right,
Sounds
exactly. And my guides are saying, oh, pull a card. Okay. So this card, let me see, what are we going to say? What are
You got it
the...
upside down.
No, they're all mixed.
Oh, no, but I mean, okay.
Huh?
No, you're fine.
Okay. This is how we are in real life together.
Oh, yeah, so there.
Okay, that fell out of the deck, so I am going to
boy.
keep that. That will be for more information. So
Yes.
what do the viewers need to know as they are hearing and observing and listening and seeing us on this subject? What do they need to know about this? And they're saying, again, for you to pick a card.
Sorry.
I'm going to put them down so it's easier
I
for
was
you.
like, okay, come on, baby.
And remember, if it doesn't want to come,
I
don't
know.
force it.
There we go.
Oh, the Wise Woman of Wonderland, which is, it was upright. So this is about integrity.
Yep.
And I actually wanted to talk about this because when you're clearing the energy or when you're cutting cords, you want to do it in a way that's not like, oh, I'm throwing this back to somebody.
Oh, yeah, no,
right?
yeah.
You want to be integrous about it. And even if you feel like somebody has connected to you with negative energy, you always want to send it back or clear it with grace and gratitude and not with the intention of, oh, gotta hurry up, gotta get rid of it. And don't be scared of it, right?
Yeah.
Because
That took me a long time.
Yeah, it did take
It
you
took
a long
me a long
time.
time because fear,
Yeah.
you can feed it. And the more you keep feeding it, guess what? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so finally one day I was talking, we were having class, I said, Cynthia, and she said, so why are you feeding it? And I'm like, feeding what? She says, you're feeding the fear. You're actually being afraid of fear itself when you think about it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So yeah, so that
Right.
makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And in the physical world, most things that we're afraid of never actually happen.
No, exactly.
And as is above, so is below. So in the physical world, same as the spiritual world. Now, are there things in the spiritual world that you might want to fear a little bit? Well, yes and no. So you can have your fear for a minute if they're, and we'll talk about clearing, like big clearings of dark energies down the road, because that's a big, big, big topic. But the more you fear it, the bigger it gets. And so you want to just stand up to it in a way, and you don't have to be like, sometimes you do, like if a bear's coming at you, you need to get big, and same thing if there's a big energy, you need to be big and do it that way. So the card that fell out of the deck, I'm actually going to show the two cards here. The first one was the Wise Woman of Wonderland, and since it was upright, it's about integrity, and we're talking about the subject of cording and energy and clearing. So you want to have integrity when you're doing these things, and thought, when you send thoughts to people, like Jeannie had said before, when she's saying, Cynthia, blah, 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 whatever, negative, remember, the more you do that, it actually becomes a curse.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's why I say people don't realize how our words are powerful.
Totally powerful.
They are powerful.
Yeah.
So just I'm learning discernment.
Yeah, and be of integrity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Be of integrity. And the other card, the card that fell out of the deck, so this would be for more information, is the Hungry Ghost. And that's about obsession, and it's about scarcity consciousness. And this is from the Hidden Realms by Colette Baron. I love Colette. I have I don't know, probably 100 card decks. Yeah. I always go back to Colette's decks.
So they work.
They work. They work.
I shouldn't say they all work.
They all work, but they work differently.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And these decks, you can actually use them together, which is kind of cool.
And it's interesting that the Hungry Ghost is about lack.
Yeah, and obsession.
And obsession, because they kind of go together.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
When you think about it, people don't realize when they say, oh, I wish I had that. Or, that's you're coming from the energy of lack.
Right.
right? And the universe, all it hears is it vibrates on that. Oh, she's lacking. Oh, she's lacking. Oh, she wants more lack.
Right.
Oh, we can give her more lack. No
Right.
worries.
Right.
You know, instead of coming from that, oh, wow, it's beautiful. I love it. You know, bringing your vibration up that one step or two, right?
Right.
So you get out of the lack, because we don't realize sometimes that's where we live.
Right, right.
In that lack section.
Right, and whatever we obsess about, or we can have obsessions with buying things, crystals, or whatever.
Right.
You might be having Home Shopping Network come into your door every day, or Amazon, or whatever, right? So the obsession is energy, and when you have an obsessive energy, you actually block other energies from coming to you.
That's true.
So you want to be really mindful and ask yourself, okay, is this an obsession? And we've talked about this, a bunch of times. For example, you do a lot of crafts.
Yes.
And so I remember asking you, how are you feeling when you're doing that, and what's the intention behind it?
Right, exactly. Right. And you can become obsessive, because I have a disorder that I can become obsessive. When I first met Cynthia, I would buy everything. I was constantly at the store buying, and she said, "But what are you trying to fill?"
Right.
I never understood that, and it was true.
Right.
I was trying to fill that void within myself about what integrity, or was I worthy, and all those things I worked on through the years. And so that void is kind of nulled out. So now when I love to shop, don't get me wrong, and I'll be the first one to go shopping, but when I go with the intention that I'm either looking for something, or I'm just looking, or I like to be social, so I'll be social with the people, and I'll see who needs what, and things like that. So the energy has shifted, right? So when I do my crafts, you can become obsessive of doing something all over and over again. Now I take it and I'll be like, each thing for me is like soul related. It has its own soul to it.
Yes.
And so each thing is uniquely done.
Yeah.
So it's not mass production, because people will say, well, why can't you make 5 of these? No, each one is individual, and it comes from a part of me that's, guided.
Yeah, it has its own energy.
Has its own energy. So it's a difference, but yes.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We're 5 minutes.
Okay, let's talk about cord cutting. That's what we were going to do.
Cord cutting. So we explain, again, go back and watch the other episode. So the part that we didn't explain was the clearing out when you pull the cords out, cut the cords, right? Because imagine like a vacuum cleaner cord, or any cord that you plug into the wall. It's got the prongs, you plug it into the outlet, it makes the connection, you've got juice, right? You've got the connection. Now you pull it out. Now when you pull that plug out of the wall, the prongs come with it. There's no more connection.
Right.
So, but imagine if you took scissors and you cut that cord instead of pulling the plug out, right?
Yeah.
Then you leave part of that energy in your own energy field.
Correct.
Also, this other part of that is if you pull the cords out, which you can do that, where Jeannie said she gathered them up and pulls them out,
and cut.
Then you leave holes where those energy, where that energy was plugged in.
Right.
And so you have to fill those holes. You have to clear those space so that it doesn't fill right back up again.
Right, exactly.
Now, you and I do it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I do it a little bit different than you. I'll do it really quickly. Usually, like I had said, I gather up the cords and I clamp them with my hands like this. And then with one hand, I cut from me, right? And the other hand would be the other cords. Then I either put them in the green fire or a bucket of salt water, and they disintegrate, right? And then I go in and I clear them. And so I'll start with all my meridians, all my chakras, and I just swipe. And I'll do 5 times, and with the intention that I'm clearing the roots from these different energy centers. So I'll do my forehead, and then I throw those remains into that green water, into the green energy fire. And I'll go through my eyes, I'll do my throat, do my ajna, I do my heart. I go through all the energy centers, and then I throw those all, all that dirty energy away. In between, you must clean your hands.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In between.
Yes.
I use an energy spray, but you can use any kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And so, thank you. And so I use an energy spray. And then I do the back the same way. I'll do the back, the sides, whatever. And then at the end, after I've cleaned out all of them, I visualize violet energy around my hands. And it's prana energy, it's divine energy, and I bring it in through my top, right? And it's my crown energy. And I go through in my whole body and I fill in with the light, golden light through everything.
Right.
The front and the back.
Right.
And I call it to stabilize it.
Right,
So,
right.
okay, that's a quick version.
yeah, quick version. Similar to what I do, where I take silver light and imagine that all the spaces that have now been emptied are filled with the silver light. And because the silver light sort of cauterizes, and then I fill it with rose gold light and fill it so then it's completely filled and sealed. Right. And that's how I do it. And then and you always want to make sure that you clear your own energy after you've done that. So we use a spray that we have.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is specially formulated for clearing, and but you can take a shower, you can do bells. The big thing is don't fear it, right? Because when you fear when you're doing this work, it becomes really big and it's not serving you, and it's not going to serve your purpose.
Make it more than what it is.
It's going to make it more than what it is. So don't fear it. Don't fear it. Now, again, as we were saying, there are big energies that sometimes you need to call a professional in.
Absolutely.
That is too big for
simple cord cutting.
Simple cord cutting, right? Simple cord cutting. But that's a whole big other topic.
Yes.
But the majority of people out in the world don't really have that experience, But one thing, we're down at 1 minute, I got to do really quick. If you watch a lot of horror movies, that opens your energy field up to really negative energy. So just a note, I don't watch horror movies, never have, don't like them. So, Jeannie, again, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
It's always fun with you. We never know where the Spirit's going to take us.
Absolutely. It's always fun.
I start out with an outline, and then Spirit takes us in the direction, and we just go with that. So thank you all for tuning in again. I appreciate you so much. Please follow on social media and share it out with your friends if you're getting value out of this. And if there's a topic that you would like me to bring on the show, please email. That way I can, see if your topic makes the air. I'm happy to cover just about anything to do with energy, with spirit guides, with mysticism, with psychic, with mediumship, with intuition. I cover a lot, past life regression. So if there's something that you would like me to talk about, please write to the show, or you can email me, and I'm happy to throw it out to the team, and maybe your suggestion will get on the air. So thank you again so much for tuning in. And again, share this with your friends. Be well. Come to center. Use your breath during these trying times. And remember, most of what we fear never comes to light. So this moment, be in the moment, and that's a really good way to stay centered and not attract more negative energy to you. Thanks so much. Cynthia signing off.